Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're going to work on like a flip out pocket for our Poe journal. And we're going to possibly put in some pockets through the journal after that. I've made up those pockets, remember, a little while ago, and I've decided where I wanted them to be in the journal. And so we might get around to doing that. I believe I showed this to you the other day. And here is the next page. Yeah, that lady's face has got the glare. So here we go. We got more stamping, more lace. This is part of that lace that was on my mom's shirt from long ago that I loved. Some more of that, what was that, gift wrap with the little gold dots. I've got a button here, a little bit of a trim down there because she was flat, on the bottom. So, and then over here, this lady is with antiques. I kind of thought of her as being like a sewing idea. I've got a little bit of a stencil behind her. This lady is on the other side of the paper bag that was back here. And if you can see it, I've got antiques in gold embossing powder on there, and it's very roughly done. So that kind of adds to the age idea. We also have an old clock, some music paper, a circular doily, and then we have this lady here. And you get into the pocket like right there. And it has a bit of stamping on here because I think I stamped underneath over top of the gesso, but you don't really see it. It's very, very subtle. But that's okay. Sometimes you want subtle. You want it to just be a layer. So don't ever cry a tear if you have covered something and you didn't want to. So here are the 3 signatures for my Poe journals. This one here is the one that I have ideas for with, and then this goes on this pocket, or this page. But here is all the little goodies that are to go on this page. And I'm going to leave my little paper clip there just so I know where it's at. And I'm going to close this back up and put it over to the side. I've got a few of my items kind of arranged out the way I want them, and all 4 of the journals. Now here's my, can you see this? I think you can. These are from the Pink Monarch prints, the Halloween Super Simple from the other year. This is from my kit, my Poe journal kit. And as you can see, I had 2 small ones and I had a large one. I'm trying to remember where I put the other small one. But all of this is from the Super Simple. I picked out the lurking in the shadows. I like that with the little spider on it there. I've got the big spider. I'm believing I'm going to be doing some kind of a slide idea that I saw that White Rabbit Journals girl do in hers. So these circles, one or the other, will come into play, as will one of these. And there's a strip here that was from Pink Monarch. Another strip. Now, her thing was something to do with, what was it? It was some kind of a little booklet that you made. Well, mine is not going to be a booklet. I've got a piece of vellum, and we also have an Annabelle Lee written poem that is from the Poe journal items as well. So what it was going to be is it's like a flip out, like it's going to go on the page with a hinge right here. It's going to flip out. I'm going to have a tuck in here made out of scrap because the page itself is kind of maroon. So I thought that scrap would work out. And I'm still trying to, the front of it is going to have the Annabelle Lee. I'll have the vellum over top of it where you can see it, but I think I'm going to be cutting this off a bit. And we're going to have a feather. This was I think one of Mom's chicken feathers. She's got a black chicken down there. So the chicken it's been molting. So I grabbed one of those. All right. So this little piece right here is going to be my hinge. This here is going to be the back side of this card. And I have to make this 8.5 tall. So this does have to get cut off just a bit. All right, so let's get to it. I kind of got an idea, and I just need to go with it. All right, so let me get this cut off at 8.5 tall. Then I can cut this. All right, so that's cut to size, and now I just need to cut everything else to size. Well, that's a little shorter. Let's just go ahead with the shorter one, and we'll do that. I'll just cut it straight across, like right there. Okay, so here is here is what's going on with the family story stuff. I have a family story that I've been doing. I don't know how many years. I've been asking people stuff for ages and ages. So anyhow, I've been working on stuff like that to post on my page and share with the family. Now, what is so it's too long on this side. That's what it is. So anyhow, I like I said, I had asked a lot of the aunts and uncles about things, and one of the things was how they got over here. And it was in early spring, sometime of 1930. I'm still trying to judge that out and figure out exactly when, because there's a few things that just aren't working out. So I'm still guesstimating things. Okay, I'm going to score this right down the middle as I'm talking to you. And I want to thank everybody so much for coming to visit and spend a little time with me and see what I got to show you today. And I'm going to pull the inker over here, and we're going to do a little inking with the scorched timber. So what has happened is, and I probably need to show you the map. I've got a map of West Virginia over here. It's one of those Delorme maps, and I've been looking at it and trying to work things out. Well, let me tell you the sub story. So Aunt Reen does not remember how her parents got over here to Virginia, but she does remember getting on a train. And she said it was her her parents and the 4 little ones, which yeah. So I don't understand that, because when did the other ones, they had 11 children. So when did the other ones come along to go over there? So I still do have quite a few mysteries to solve. But Uncle Fred does remember that there was a cattle drive, and the family drove the wagon over, and it was, like I said, a cattle drive at the same time. So I was trying to figure that out. And the other thing that I was told, and this was by Mom. Now, see, we kept my grandmother when she was older. She stayed with several children, but eventually she stayed with us in her last years. But I do need to put something here because it's a hinge. But we had her, and she would talk to Mom about certain things. And she did talk about when they came over, and how hard it was to go over those mountains and going through German Valley. Now, that was my one clue on how the route was positioned that they came over on. That's all I had. Now, that was a very, very confusing thing for me to try to figure out, because German Valley is quite up there, and they came over to Bath County. Why in the world would they go that high up to make their way over here when they didn't have to? That was kind of out of the way. So I had that to ponder on, but that was out of her mouth, Grandma's mouth, and she was there. It was her and Grandpa, and he had told her when they left the house that she was to not bring anything but the bare essentials. And it really preyed on her mind because she actually did have to leave things behind. And that is the part where, because it was like a large mountain that they had to get over, and the oxen just couldn't pull it. So, yeah, I had that to think about as well. So, let me ink this last little guy here. And I'm going to show you the map. And I'll let you be the judge. Let me get that out of the way. So, this is my Delorme map. And as you can see, they came from right there, Kermit. They went, and actually Stonecall is just right above it here. And so they had to go from here to here, basically. But this is mountains. This is nothing but mountains. So, and this was back in 1930. Quite a few of these roads weren't here, especially these blue ones, because these are interstates. They were not there. Then, this valley that we're talking about, let me see if I can find it. Okay, there's Elkins. So, this German Valley is right around in here somewhere. And I do not know why the family, was it here or here? Anyway, it's near Seneca Rocks. So I didn't know why the family had to go all the way up here when they were going here. But I thought, oh, let me look into the cattle drive part of it, because there was supposed to be a cattle drive. Well, that helped me so much, because that gave me the clue that the upper panhandles, which West Virginia has one going this way into Maryland, and then it had one going up that way between Ohio and Pennsylvania. So that part of it was where, let's see, I got to glue this onto one of these, and then I'll glue them together. So yeah, I had to figure out the panhandle part, because that was way up above where they were. But they did say Elkins was one of the main places that they went to. Now I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. Maybe like that. I'm still trying to, oh, it needs to be there, sorry. And then there. I think that's the way I need to do it. Okay. So, anyhow, there was a couple of people that talked about the cattle drive. There was a couple of people in the family that went on the cattle drive. My great uncle James Harrison Salmon's Grandma's brother, who talked them into coming over to West Virginia, not Virginia, was actually on the cattle drive with them, which is sort of confusing in a way. But if he came over and was helping them drive what cattle they actually may have owned along with them, and then it was said that he had 100 head of cattle and 100 acres of corn on this Fort Dinwiddie, which was their destination. So I'm thinking he may have went to Elkins for his employer and was getting cattle for him to bring down to the farm. That was my other guess. All right, I'm trying to figure out here if I would like to have a little tuck in here as well, and I think I do. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to go right here in the center, wherever that may be, and do that. So, and then another cousin of my dad's came along. That was Grandma Rhoda's nephew. He comes along as well, and he was also helping on the cattle drive. And I need to ink this right there. And they both rode horseback, I was told. Roy and Uncle Harrison, Great Uncle Harrison. So, let's see. I need to do this up here. So my thing the other day, and I'm about to burn up I don't know how many brain cells, was trying to figure out how they came across West Virginia. I mean, they had to go over rivers and creeks and mountains, and you know, there was a lot of different things to go through back in that time. I mean, I looked for country roads, which was, you know, I should have inked this whole edge too. They went through country road areas, and like, just people had made certain paths over the years to get from point A to point B. So those were well known, I guess, and that's the way they were going. Okay, I should have inked this other side, but I didn't do it. That's okay. It's facing down. Alright, so let me do that. And we're going to see what we got. That doesn't look bad. No, no, no. I do have to cut a little bit off the bottom here. So yeah, my idea is just guessing. But I think I figured out how they got over there. Now, once they got to Elkins, that they hadn't got to this German Valley yet. So once they got to Elkins, I don't think they wanted to go back down the way they had come. Now, this road was called the National Road on the two panhandles up above, and it was getting commerce going back and forth between Pennsylvania and Ohio and out west. It was one of the routes that was well done, made, used, that kind of thing. And, yeah, so they actually were on the National Road going up to Elkins at one point, but I guess they decided not to go that route, because then they went east and went down to Franklin, West Virginia. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Now I want to do a little ripping, and I think I'm going to rip it kind of that way. Because I got such a big feather, I need to have a deeper pocket. And I suppose along that route, they came upon, you know, German Valley. And the valley itself wasn't bad. It was along Route 33. And that was probably easy to go through. But once you got through there, to get to Franklin, you had to go up and over this mountain. And I know the roads, the good roads, weren't there back then. So I know that must be where my grandma was talking about, where it was so bad and so hard to get up and over. I can only imagine. Can you? I mean, we got interstates and paved roads nowadays. And it's just amazing what these people went through and did. Now, her sister came through supposedly the same valley, and I can only guess that the reason that was is because that maybe James Harrison went back over and helped them come through. But, you know, they had so many kids. There were kids walking alongside the wagon and everything. And the youngest one was 5 months old. but he wasn't there to, at that farm anymore, to be going to Elkins, to be getting any. So that part of the story, I'm still confused on. Yeah. Well, let me get this feather in here before I get to going any further, because I may need to make a bit of a gusset area. Get in there. Or do I? No, I don't. Nope, it's fine. It slides right down in there, and once that glues really well, we will be good. All right, now the part, I did wonder about putting this little pocket here. And then we had the lurking in the shadows, and I don't know exactly where I want to put that. And this was a last decision, because I did want to put that here, I thought. And the lurking in the shadows, but I could put that back here, because that goes with the color scheme better. So let's do that. I've already kind of pressed it, or put my score lines in it, because this is a gusseted pocket. So we will do like this and get that mashed down. So yeah, say a prayer for me, because my brain, it doesn't work like it used to. It's hard for me to figure things out and try to do that kind of thing anymore. It's just taxing. It's taxing on my brain. But I'm trying. I really am trying. Because I really want to have some of these stories out. Now, if I stick to it and keep working on this a little bit each day, or a couple days a week, or something like that, the 100th anniversary of them coming over will be in 2030, which isn't too far away, in the scheme of things. And I know some of my cousins, are older cousins, especially the ones that remember all this stuff. So I would really like to get it to them before anything happens, All right, I'm going to put this little baby right here. It's just going to be a little pocket for anything and everything. And I think I'll put this one on the outside with the feather. I don't really want to cover the feather up as much. Okay, let's burnish that down. So yeah, that is the plan. And I'm going to go ahead and put this down here at the bottom. And it's going to be a little tuck. I don't know if I need to put a little doodaddy at the top. A little thumb pulley kind of thing. Just a tiny one, but, I don't think it's centered. All right, let's take another little hunk off of it. There we go. And so, now they know it's got a little bit of a thumb pull in it. And let me put my glue this way. Yeah, I'm getting little pieces and parts. I had a younger cousin who used to listen to her grandparents all the time, talking about coming over and that kind of thing. So they came over to where, what she says is they came over across West Virginia. She didn't say specifically where, but she said they came through Covington to a section of the Cowpasture River where James Harrison Salmons lived. This was in 1935 is when they came over. And to where this was my grandma's sister, who was coming over to where their brother lived. And they stayed near him for a little bit. I'm going to put my big spooky spider like right in there, I think. Do I want him right in there? I don't know, because he may have I'll go ahead, because he's got sort of a whitish outline on him, because he's one of those kiss cuts or bubble cuts or whatever they call that. And I just left it that way because I didn't want to get really detailed on his cutting out. So yeah, so she goes there. So what did that have to do with German Valley? So see, I've got inconsistencies. You will always run into inconsistencies along the way, and you just won't know exactly which way to go or how it's supposed to work. Or you know what? I can come down from here with a spider. Yeah, let's do that. And he's on paper instead of that being on vellum, you know. All right. So anyhow, I'm still writing. I get on the 1930 census because it's a very confusing census for my family. But I got an epiphany from that as well. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and crease this and get this ready. I'm going to put that moth on it. I saw somebody do that, and I really like that idea. So, the 1930 census. My grandparents are not over in West Virginia. Not at all. And the only child that shows up is my Uncle Fred, who's one of the oldest children. And then he's living with his sister, my Aunt Elizabeth. And so they're the only two that's over there. And, of course, Fred was working in the mines with Kurt, his brother-in-law. So that's one of the reasons they were there. I guess to get some last-minute cash or something along those lines. Now, this is how I'm doing this moth. He's going to stick up a little bit there. But that's the only part that's not going to get glued. And anyhow, so my grandparents are on their way over. I don't know where the children are at. Somebody just may have not mentioned them because of the confusion, you know. And then the guy that rode over and helped herd the cattle was Roy Markham. Now, he's on 1930. And he's working at the same mine, and he's just a few houses away from my bunch of the family. So I have no clue why he was still there when I was assuming that he was on the ride with them. Now, my Aunt Reen, the one source, the one solid source that I have, Aunt Reen had her little picture taken with a coat over in West Virginia. Picture taken D took the photo. He's like a son-in-law to Grandma. He takes a photo, and he sends it in February of 1930 from Stone Coal over to Bath County. What does it get? Bath County? Well, he sends it over there, and anyhow, I mean, in February of 1930, he's sending it over. How long did the mail need to go? Need to run? Because I'm trying to figure out exactly, you know, does that mean my grandparents left in February if they weren't there to get the photo from him themselves? That's what I'm coming up with in my head. So, I don't know how long it would have took them. That was a long, long trip. And I can only imagine that it may have taken, and I don't know why they would have left in February. Isn't that winter? As you can see, this is not for the faint of heart. doing genealogy is not for the faint of heart. Now, I don't know if I want to go with... Let's see, everything's too big. I've got a 1.5, and then I have a 1. So, I'm going to have to probably go with this one. I'm trying to see exactly. And I'm going to put two together. And I'm going to punch them out at the same time. And I'm hoping that this is going to be what I need for my little scrolling piece. All right, let me go ahead and... do that. All right. So I almost got it all. So that's not too bad. So we are going to set this to the side. This is trash. And then we have... Probably I'm going to take this and score it in half. Let's do that. Scoring it in half. Where's score? Okay. So, okay. But by, okay, on that 1930 census, the April 4th is where I'm finding my Uncle Fred and my Aunt Elizabeth still on stone coal. And they're, the husbands or the men are working in the mine, yada yada. Okay, then you have April 18th. You've got all of them over in Virginia. My grandparents, all the children, though they're listed in the wrong household, and that kind of thing. So I'm thinking, what the devil is going on? Why are they listed? Their name is not spelt right. The birth locations of like their parents, which is usually listed, is like Michigan and Canadian French and stuff like that. Like, what in the world is going on? So it ends up that I believe, and I'm going to glue this together, I believe that James Harrison Salmon's grandma's brother, his wife, I think, was the only adult around at that point when the census taker came through, because on the 8th of April, their dad had passed away, Fred Salmon's. Grandma Rhoda's dad and James Harrison's dad, and yeah, so he passed away. So I'm assuming that his wife was taking care of his funeral arrangements. And she was sharp as a tack. Everybody listened to what she had to say. But she was like 77 years old. And so anyhow, I really think that James Harrison's wife was giving the information, didn't know anything, didn't know where the children should be, listed. I don't know. This is my supposition of how this craziness came about. All right. Now I think I may make this circle a little bit bigger by using this one and an extra piece of paper. I found this in my scraps and it's not too bad, so let's try that. And that's almost too big, isn't it? I'll cut it down. I don't want it to be quite that big, but that's close enough. And and so there was so much happening to this poor family. I mean, this old guy, he was the patriarch. And, he was wanting all the firstborn sons named after him, and this and that, and was there at the birth of all of them to push the idea that they should be named after him, and that kind of thing. So that he was like he was a character, but he was a very skilled blacksmith, and he was working for the mines. He was pretty old. He was 5 years older than Polly, and so she was 77, so he was like 83 or something when he passed away. And I'm going to actually put these two together, and I'm going to kind of cut around the outside of them just a little bit. So yeah, and I never have found an obituary. I'm going to actually go, when I go on my trip here in a few weeks to West Virginia, I'm going to actually look in the Wayne County paper and see if possibly they listed his death. They wouldn't have done it over in Virginia. Nobody over there knew him, or the ones that did were right there in that one family group. So me and Zach were talking, and we think that maybe, they would have wrote and let Janie, the youngest sister, and the oldest sister, Idabelle, they would have let them know. So yeah. But, it's hard as crap to find out rail routes and, like wagon routes, or just, where people actually traveled from point A to point B between Virginia and West Virginia. But there must have been some kind of a way to go across, because there was other family that came over in 1900 related closely to all of them. So yeah, there you go. Somebody knew something, and but yeah, it was rough. Those mountains had to be hard to get over. Whew, hard, hard, hard. I'm going to ink this up pretty good, so you can't really see how uneven uneven the thing is. There we go. And this is going to go on the back side. I don't need that one, but I do need this one. Okay. And I may actually ink this, because I don't know what's going to be shown or be seen from the other end. I'm trying to figure out how this worked. This one girl, I think, is the one that did it in the White Rabbit girl. So this will flip out. This is actually going to be folded this way. And the reason I put the washi on there is so that would protect the fold, and it would hold longer and be more malleable, I guess you'd say, without ripping. So we do need to get this and cut this. Now I gotta figure this out in a minute, but I need to cut this to have that little inside pocket that's also going to hide this part that's going to be glued down. So we're going to go over, we're just going to go over 2 inches. We don't need to be very big, and go in like that. Now I might have enough there for another one. I'll just have to see. So 8.5, or we don't need to do that. We just need to go on this one. Lay that down, turn it over, and I'll cut it. And then I'll know it's the right measurement. All right. Now I need to punch a thumb pull. There. I was having to eyeball that to see where I was at. Go ahead and get rid of the white core. So yeah, I'm still working on this story. I actually, when and found a little bit more information that I wanted to add. And I thought, you know, instead of writing 2 whole stories, which I have some that's on the family, instead of writing 2, I'm wondering about, wait, I got to find this page. Okay, so this is the page. I need to glue this down to this edge right here and have it right on the edge sticking out. And see, it wasn't exactly 8.5 because I'm in a little bit, which is fine. Okay. So yeah. So I'm finding more information that I need to add. I want to add these stories. And I thought I could do them as a memory. I thought that would be kind of interesting. Like, because old Fred, he died right when they got over there. Or not when they got over there. He was living there with his son. But he died very close to when my grandparents were coming over. And he passed away. It was cardiac deficiency, which was his heart. But it was contributed to by influenza. So he must have gotten a cold or something, or gotten down. And I was reading his notes, or his information, and he had something called carbuncles that would come up on him. And usually it was on his back of his neck, or down on his back above his hips, somewhere in there. But I know you never hear about carbuncles anymore. But I thought that was maybe what happened to him. And he got that, and it kind of got him down. And then that being in the winter, you know, colder months, he may have picked up, you know, influenza, and that's what, you know, made too much stress on his little heart. And he probably passed away from that. Yeah, he was some character. I've heard so many interesting stories about him and Cotton Hill Bill. They were both my great-grandfathers. Both of them were characters. And there was always something. They were trying to one-up each other all the time. Yeah, there was something about, you know, putting a coal between your toes and whistling and seeing how long they could hold that. And all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Okay, we got to train. Got to train our little piece here to go down. And this is where the slide comes in, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to recall how that would have worked. I know it needs to be over this way, so I may not even need the length that I've got, and I don't think that I do. I'm trying to remember how theirs was. But see, I'm going to cut it off right there. Doesn't even have to be straight. We're going to put that pencil mark right there. Because it's going to go up underneath of this right here. Yeah. So it's going to be like that. Now, the part that is to work with this and hold it shut will be that. And I need to glue. Okay, let me put that to the side. I need to glue. Put 2 daubs of it, like one here, and then one here. And that's going to kind of be the way it works. And then this will go right there. I'm hoping that my glue doesn't spread that much, but we will see. We will see. Okay. Now let me go ahead and do that. Oh. See, I would push outward, but the whole thing slid. So let me push outward that way and outward that way. Let me get something to rub up the excess and see how it's going. Go sideways this time. All right, now let's see. Oh yeah, it's still going. I need to rub this down a little bit more to get it to be firm right there. Like that. And then on the other side, there. So, yeah. And what I had figured is I would write segments of this story, and like from now I'll just start at the beginning and kind of go forward, and I'll put everything in, the new information I may have not added and stuff such that way, and then I will share it to the family, and then I'll insert it into the story, and that part will be done. I've got to look at all kinds of stuff that I've done, though. I've got stuff everywhere. I did a pictorial history on my Facebook page one time, and it was really interesting. It's like I went around to all these places that they had lived, and I had, wait a minute, I gotta make sure this is still moving, not glued down. Okay. I think it was trying to stick right there. Now I'm going to put my magic my magic crayon over here and see what I can make with that. So yeah, I've got a pictorial history that I really loved. I went around with that, took pictures of all these places that they lived at. Some places they weren't there anymore, but I still took pictures of the land and all that. So that is going to be where I need to look for any other additional little bits of information I may have written about. So I'm playing with this to make sure it doesn't stick. But I think that's it. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, because this part is sliding under that band. And then over here, I need just a little bit for the edge of here. Whew, I'm running out of time. I may have to be doing this thing with the pockets another day. It looks like that may be the case, guys. I will glue these couple that are on the pages beside this, just so you can see the finished product. All right, and so this part was used. That part is done. Now this is the way it should work. It's to slide over, and to tell you the truth, I made a I made a pocket out of this flip. So yeah, it's like when I slide it over, I've got to pick it up just a little bit. But it's to hold that down. That was the whole idea. Now I could have made that spider a little straighter, and it looks like it's wanting to move around on me. I shouldn't have used as much of the glue as I did. You know, hindsight and all that. But yeah, there we go. Now our feather, he goes right down in here to go with our raven. Of course, that doesn't have anything to do with Annabelle Lee. But this piece was in the kit, and I'm thinking, you know, I'll just go ahead and use that, because I have no other idea of where to put it. But yeah, you can put your little feather down in there just like that. Kind of a layer. And then we need to pull out, let's see, where was it? I think this was to go on this side. I'm wanting to make sure this isn't too light in here as well. I did do a little bit of inking on that other page, but oh well. Alright, so this one is going here. I made that one. I don't know if I got to show you all of them. I was still making them up. And I was showing you my newer ones, but I got mixed up on which ones I'd shown you. So. Okay, and that one's going to go here. And what I will end up doing is pulling something to go in here, in the pocket itself. I may do additional decorations around the page, because this is one of those pages you're not going to be able to write on or journal on. So the thing that goes in the pocket will be the item that's going to fulfill that need. All right, so this one goes right here where I pulled this out, and then it will tuck there. Oh, see, I got a nice black spot there. That's good, that's good. And then this little pocket that I wanted it to go right here, because it's got sort of a, but I don't know if I'm going to put that down yet, because I may want to put something down underneath of it over here. So yeah, we're just going to kind of paper clip that little booger right in here, and we'll come back to him. But you've got the general idea. I need to look at some of my other items to see if that's what I want to do. So that was, okay, I have this pocket, or this to go here, and I may not be putting anything else with that, so we'll go ahead and glue that down. The little item over here, I pulled out a card that I thought would go well. I love this page, the way it's like I call it the blood splatter page. But I pulled this to go in here somehow. I'm still debating on whether I'm going to make that a tuck or what I'm going to do with that. But I really like the idea of having that spider web on the page. And so yeah, I'm still thinking about this. So that's kind of held in there with the paper clip as well. And then that pocket went there. That pocket got put down. Now see, this is a double pocket. It's got a pocket this way. And then it's got a pocket this way. So I got all kinds of little places stuff could go. I really like how that turned out. And so you get in there, you roll this back, you flip this open, you have a tuck here, you have a pocket there. Yeah, got all kinds of room. And then you just have to, I'm going to have to train this thing to stick up. That's the only issue. I've got to get it to where it's going to stick up a little bit and be where you can use it. Hers was much bigger. I don't think she glued all the way around the outside. Let's see. I'm looking to see if I had anything else in here. Pocket wise, I need to put down. Oh, right here. I can put this one down. This one has a crow, which I thought was perfect. It's got Forevermore, and it's right across from Edgar Allan Poe and his signature. Now this one has a fly in it. Milk of Bismuth is right there, and it's got these creepy gates. So I thought that would be the perfect one for this location. Yeah, I had to go, I put about 2 in each signature, and I really like how they've turned out. Those goodies that Chestita sent me were primo. Just primo. All right. And I'll wipe that in. And see, the kind of the background goes with this really well. All right. There. Now, and see, this kind of color goes with this color. And yeah, I thought it was a very good combination. The dark with the dark. And that's what finishes out this journal. Yeah, I still got a lot to do to it. A lot to add. Now, back here, I don't know if you saw that, but I decorated this flip up. I've got a couple of pieces of cut paper. It was black, and I sprayed it with that burnt ember mica spray. And then I have this piece of lace, which is paper lace. And then I cut a little bit of that Dollar Tree web design with the glitter web. And I put that down there. And see, it fit perfectly here with the Itsy Bitsy Spider. I didn't even plan that, and it was perfect. All right, so that's kind of my idea to show you there. All right, well, I'm going to get off of here. I really want to thank everybody for coming and spending so much time with me. I hope you got to see a few things that's interesting, or how you could approach something, or how you could put it together. You know, I like to inspire you that way, give you ideas. So I want to thank you, all my subscribers and viewers, and everybody, I wish you a happy, happy day. All right, bye-bye.